SmackDown tonight. There was only two things on this show that I cared about tonight. Cody and Roman, the opening segment to kick off SmackDown tonight. And Roman and the Bloodline starting to crumble. That's all I got from the show tonight. Outside of that, everything else on the show tonight, there was some good, some bad on the show tonight. But those are the only two things that I cared about tonight. Now, I have a hunch here, folks. Let me know in the comment section if you're thinking about this as well. I said this on Monday, how Cody and Roman is getting unpredictable for WrestleMania. We don't know who's winning. Roman could win, Cody could win. But I have a question that I don't think not that many people in the community is thinking about. Now with this whole bloodline starting to crumble, and we found out tonight on the show that if Jay doesn't show up on SmackDown next week, Roman is blaming Jimmy for what happened. What if Jey Uso cost Roman Reigns the Undisputed Championship at WrestleMania? You can't call me crazy to think about that. I mean, for even thinking about that. You can't call me crazy for thinking about that. What if Jey Uso, some way, somehow, during Roman's match with Cody at WrestleMania, or I'll even stretch you a little bit, what if the Usos cost Reigns the match at WrestleMania against Cody? Again, we don't know what's going on for WrestleMania. But am I the only one that's thinking about this? I mean, it may sound dumb, but at the same time, I don't think it does. Because now the bloodline's starting to crumble. They're starting to fall apart. I think that can possibly happen. And now I'm starting to lean a little bit towards Cody beating Roman at WrestleMania. Again, I do think Roman... It's possible that Reigns still beats Cody. But I'm like, right now, I'm like 51% leaning towards Cody and 49% leaning towards Roman. Because of what we got tonight at the end of SmackDown. We're going to go over everything on the show tonight. Again, there was some good on the show, some bad. Again, we're going to go over everything right here on the SmackDown review video right here on the channel. If you guys don't know who I am Chris. Thank you guys so much for tuning back into the channel. If you guys enjoyed SmackDown tonight, leave a like, leave a comment down below your thoughts of the show tonight. What was your favorite part of the show tonight? And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on bell, guys, for all notifications. I have Raw review up from this past Monday. I did not review Dynamite because I just didn't watch it, if you ask me. I had stuff to do, and I didn't have enough time to watch Dynamite. But Raw review is live on the channel right now. Link to that video will be in the annotation that you see on the upper hand corner of your screen, as well as SmackDown review from this past Friday. Link to that video will be in the annotation that you see on the upper hand corner of your screen, as well as down below in the description. Make sure you guys are following me on social media, Twitter and TikTok at The Real Chris, with 2 E's and 2 S's on Chris, and 2 E's on the. So my Twitter and my TikTok will be down below in the description. We're going to go over SmackDown tonight. And the show opens up with the Bloodline making their entrance, still without Jey Uso. We'll get to that when we get to the ending part of the show. They get in the ring and Roman gets on the mic and demands Washington, D.C. to acknowledge him. I acknowledge my tribal chief. So just before Roman even is able to say anything, here comes Cody Rhodes. He gets on the mic and says he's not here to invade or engage in reckless negotiations. He's here to have a one-on-one, man-to-man conversation with his WrestleMania opponent, and he sees no reason for his compadres to stay unless Roman feels like he needs them there. It's a shot. He tells Paul Heyman, Jimmy Uso, and Sikoa, Roman did, to leave and asks if that makes Cody more comfortable. He says Rhodes won't like this, but he's going to do it anyway, and he drops the titles between them and asks Cody if he wants to, what do you want to talk about? Rhodes wants to talk about Roman. 915 days he's been WWE Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion. No need to print the legend. Reality has become legendary, and Reigns has suppressed hyperbole. He wants to tell Roman something about himself that he may not know, and for some, he's become an impossible mountain to climb. And that's become his thing. He's just Randy's understudy. He'll never survive Stardust. There's no way 10,000 people would want to see him and his buddies put on a wrestling indie show, All Out. The goalposts keep moving, but he keeps kicking them through the uprights. And for anyone else, Roman might be impossible, but not for him. Reigns tells Cody that was flawless and shift gears, pointing at the Universal Championship and asking if he's ever won that one, before asking if he ever competed for one of those or been in the main event of WrestleMania before, because he's pretty sure he's done that and did that, and that makes him the most experienced main eventer of all time. Now, Roman's first main event was WrestleMania 31. He main evented against Brock Lesnar. 32 against Triple H. 33 against The Undertaker. 34 against Brock Lesnar. In my opinion, one of the worst WrestleMania matches of all time. He didn't main event 35. He didn't main event 36. He main evented 37 and 38. So you do that. So 31, 32, 33, 34, 37, and 38. And now he's going to main event his seventh or 8th WrestleMania. I believe so, if I'm not mistaken. Since 2015, Reigns has main evented almost every single WrestleMania. The only WrestleManias Roman did not main event was 35 and 36. Those were the 2 WrestleManias Reigns has not main evented. So look, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35 he did not, 36 he did not, 37, 38, and 39. Roman's going to main event 7 of the last 9 WrestleManias. That is incredible, if you ask me. But here's the kicker. Moving on with the promo. He's been groomed since he was just a little boy, not only by his father, but by Cody's father too, Dusty. He wants to talk about Dusty Rhodes, and he's got too much love and respect for that man to degrade him. They spent a lot of time together. The Dream put the confidence in him. He was the first one to tell him he has it, and there's a little Dusty impression for us, which, by the way, Roman completely nailed that, in my honest opinion. They spoke for hours about everything, but especially about what he's doing now with main eventing WrestleManias and all of that. And you know what Dusty said about Cody? Nothing. He never said anything to Roman about him ever. Maybe it was said for Kevin Owens or with Becky, but when he and Dusty were hanging out, it was like Cody didn't even exist. This is a lot, and he wishes Dusty were here right now. He knows Cody misses him, and Roman misses him too. Reigns picks the towels up, puts him back on his shoulder, and says he knows Dusty isn't here anymore, but know this. If there's anything he didn't teach Cody, Roman will. I love that line by Roman Reigns. So Reigns offers a handshake and Cody had this look on his face. He says he's not even playing on the same field. This isn't chess. He didn't send Heyman to Raw to get in his head. He sent him to tell the truth. If that's the truth, that one of Dusty's kids is better than Dusty's actual kid, then that means Roman is the son he always wanted. And that changes absolutely everything, because it's not just a dream or some story that needs to be finished. This becomes a necessity. Roman says he doesn't exist. Well, the only way Rhodes can exist is by beating him at WrestleMania. So absolutely, Reigns, sir, champ, may the better man win. Cody accepts a handshake of Roman Reigns as Roman leaves the ring, and the segment ends from there. I like this segment. I did. It was nice to see Roman and Cody in the same ring at the same time. But I gotta be honest with you people. I know Dusty is not with us anymore. God rest his soul. I know Dusty's not with us anymore. But can we stop with the whole Dusty thing? That how Cody needs to do this for his family and that he wants to do it for his father. What about him? Yeah, I'm sure Cody wants the story to be finished. That he wants his story to be told. And the only way by doing that is beating Reigns at WrestleMania. But what about Cody? I wanted to hear out of Cody or Roman's mouth tonight on this show, in this segment, how WWE didn't see absolutely nothing in Cody. Remember when he was with Randy Orton and Ted DiBiase Jr. in Legacy? How they got pushed a little bit, and then Legacy broke up, and then Cody went by himself and stuff, had a little Intercontinental Championship reign, but he was never able to win the big one. Then Stardust debuted, he got released by the company. Somebody should have sat there and said, oh, Vince never saw nothing in you. Creative never saw nothing in you. Or should I say management never saw nothing in you for you to be at the top of the fucking chain. At the top of the mountain. Meanwhile, they push Roman Reigns. How come that was never said on the show tonight? That would have at least intensified their promo and would have made it a whole lot better. Bring up Cody's uprights, his upbringing coming out of the Indies and AEW. How come none of that wasn't mentioned on the show tonight? It would have made the segment a whole lot better. If you ask me, mention how Cody struggled in the Indies and how he had to make a name for himself outside of WWE. That could have been brought up on this promo also. But no, you have to talk about Dusty. And I get it, don't get me wrong. I love Dusty. Don't get me wrong. My father and my grandfather back then would always tell me stories on how great Dusty Rhodes was on his promos and his fucking matches. How great they were. Don't get me wrong, I love Dusty. Don't get me wrong. Don't misconstrue my words here. But what about Cody himself? That's the least right there you could have done. I feel like if they would have brought up Cody's upbringings and how he was in the Indies and how he had to make a name for himself in AEW, the promo would have been 100 times better. Again, they got 4 weeks to go to WrestleMania. Am I invested in this match? A little bit. Starting to get progress here. But again, we have 4 weeks to go to WrestleMania. We have 4 weeks left. It's up to Triple H and management to make this fucking main event WrestleMania-like worthy. And don't get me wrong, it is. But I feel like Cody and Roman, they need a little bit more intensity. I hope in the next 4 weeks we get that. But again, this segment was good. Don't get me wrong. I love Roman and Cody finally going face to face in the same ring at the same time. But I want to see more of this going into WrestleMania. In the next 4 weeks, I better get that. So far, I loved the opening of SmackDown tonight. We see Dominik Mysterio and Rhea Ripley walking backstage to send us to commercial break. We get Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. Now, if you really ask me, now don't get me wrong, this match was good. Don't get me wrong. Listen, I love Rhea and I love Liv Morgan. Don't get me wrong. But did you really think for 1 second that Rhea was going to lose this match going into WrestleMania against Charlotte? No. Rhea was not losing at all. And as a matter of fact, Rhea should not be losing at all because I got Rhea winning at WrestleMania, becoming the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Again, that's just me. This was a pretty good TV match for what it was. The match was good. So coming out of commercial break, we got Ripley in control and working Morgan over. Whip across, elbow to the spine, brushing her shoulders off and sending her to the ropes. Float over a back suplex. Liv hits a lung blower. Boot up in the corner. Diving Frankensteiner. Kick combo sets up an inverted code breaker. Springboard code breaker. Morgan up top. Diving code breaker. So close. Fired up. Evil intentions in Liv's eyes. Oblivion block. Slipped out of Riptide. Insecurity connects with the rising knee. Follows up top and perching. Diving Frankenstein reverse for a power bomb. Rhea with the pump handle. Riptide connects, but she decides to win the match by submission. Inverted cloverleaf, bending her down. Ripley wins by submission by bent over inverted cloverleaf. The match was good for what it was. I love this match. The match was good. I loved it. It was pretty good. Pretty good here. I like this match. Listen, I love Liv. But at the end of the day, Rhea should not be losing going into WrestleMania. And I think Rhea will win the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania against Charlotte. And let me tell you this now. If Rhea does not win the championship at WrestleMania, whether it's night 1 or night 2, I'm going to be fucking pissed. Rhea beats Liv on SmackDown. Back for commercial break, the Bloodline are back together backstage. Jimmy Uso spoke with Jay, and he said he needs time. He's better today than he was yesterday, and he'll let him know. Roman Reigns says he's running out of patience, but not with Jay, but rather with Jimmy. So Roman is starting to run out of patience with Jimmy. Uso gets up and goes to let Jay know, and Roman fumes. This is some entertaining shit. We get a recap of Dominik Mysterio trying to glow his father into attacking him. Rhea and Dominik are walking backstage as they run into Santos Escobar. Dom asks if he has a problem, and Escobar says Ray should have punched him in the face last week, and Adam Pearce agrees. So he's going to teach him a lesson about respect in the ring tonight. Hombre. There you go. So we got a impromptu matchup between Dominik Mysterio and Santos Escobar. You ain't gonna get a single complaint out of me. He blows Rhea a kiss before scampering off to send us to commercial break. Back for commercial break, we get some hype for the Special Olympics World Games. Nice on them. We get Dominik versus Santos here on SmackDown. This match was good. I want to see more of this. Please. I want to see more of this, please. Listen. Actually, I'll talk about that at the end of the matchup here. So, coming out of commercial break, Mysterio with mounted punches in the corner, choking him in the ropes. Escobar fires up, but Dom cuts him off in the turnbuckles. Corner lariat shoves Santos in front of the mask, telling him to hell with his legacy, you respect him. Joining Escobar, slapping him across the face. Santos off the ropes, flying shoulder blocks, big lariat. Inverted headlock, leg drop, only a 2 count. Both men off the ropes thinking crossbody, and they both end up down and out. Dominik gets caught by referee Jason Ayers with Brax Knucks. Rhea takes advantage, ripped out on the floor, so fucking good. Dominik Mysterio wins by pinfall with the fork splash on Santos Escobar as Dominik Mysterio picks up the victory here on Friday Night SmackDown. Post-match, Dom takes the mask, and Ray gives Santos, and he teases the pieces in the aisle. Enter Rey Mysterio. He advances on his son and jaws at him. And again, Dominik demands he hit him before dropping the mask. And cheap shot at Mysterio, the elder, when he bends over to pick it up. Oh, listen, in my honest opinion here, I think we're either getting Dominik versus Rey at WrestleMania, or we're getting a tag team match of some sort. Now, at first I wanted to add Karrion Kross and Dominik Mysterio, but it doesn't really kind of make sense. So what about Damian Priest? What is Priest doing at WrestleMania? You can add him to the match with Dominik against Rey and Santos in a tag team match. Listen, either one. Either we get Dominik and Rey, or Rey and Santos against Dominik and Damian Priest. It'll be a fucking banger of a match. Either or. And to be honest with you, I would be okay with either one of them. But if I have to choose one, I would love to get the tag team match. If you ask me. I just love it. I love this. This was really good. Listen, Dominik Mysterio, he's a really good heel. He's a very good heel. Is he comparable to Eddie Guerrero? No. Hell no. Eddie's one of my all-time favorites. Please. There shouldn't be no comparison between Dominik and Eddie. Don't get me wrong. I love both men, but I love Eddie more. God rest his soul. Again, Dominik he's a really good heel. He's playing his role as a heel very, very well. And he's starting to become one of my favorite acts on the main roster. Love Dominik. We see a video Sami Zayn posted on Twitter earlier saying Roman Reigns must be feeling the heat because he's been correct and the bloodline is crumbling from within. He's got a match against Solo Sikoa in the main event, and he knows it's not about wins or losses with the bloodline, but he's going to send Solo a message himself tonight. Sami Zayn problem will not go away until he sees with his own eyes that the bloodline has been destroyed. Bloodline's on the crumble, folks. Tell me when I'm wrong. Drew McIntyre makes his entrance and we go to break. Back from commercial break, Drew McIntyre gets on the mic. He says it's 4 weeks to WrestleMania and he still doesn't have a match. I know. And he'd like to remedy that fact right now. There's a certain individual he'd like to beat the absolute schnitzel out of. Could have just said the word shit. And he calls out Gunther, the current Intercontinental Champion. But instead, out comes Sheamus. He's upset Drew went behind his back and says it's personal. He knows how much the Intercontinental Championship means to him and how much he wants it. Meanwhile, Sheamus has never won the IC title, and that's the only championship in Sheamus' whole entire career that he's ever won. Drew says he knows, and he asks Sheamus to calm down, which predictably makes him more agitated. McIntyre knew he wanted Gunther at Mania, and now he's calling him out. Drew says he's not his parent and asks if he needs permission to wipe his ass next. Sheamus says he's not his parent, but he thought Drew was his brother, and he just turned out to be a backstabbing bastard. Choice of voice there, Sheamus. I love you, bro. McIntyre says friends to the truth, and the truth sometimes hurts. And the truth is Sheamus had his chance and lost twice. Ooh, that hurt. Ooh. Here comes LA Knight. He says you can't have an Intercontinental Championship match in LA without him. Yeah. Fucking love LA Knight. Here come the New Day. Oh my God. They wanted to come out here and apologize on behalf of LA Knight because it makes 2 weeks in a row that he comes out crying and begging for a WrestleMania match, and it's sad. Here comes Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Knight takes advantage and attacks the New Day. Sheamus clotheslining him to the floor. He sends Drew out as well, and Kross dumps him in a turn. Commentary brings up NXT Roadblock on Tuesday. We got a video package from the show to send us to commercial break. The WrestleMania match for the Intercontinental Championship, it should be Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew. And if you want to add a fourth person, you could add LA Knight to it. Because again, we're 4 weeks away to WrestleMania. What the fuck is he doing at WrestleMania? You might as well put him in the IC title match. Outside of that, what else is there for LA Knight to do? Give him a one-on-one match against Kofi Kingston? We already seen that on SmackDown last week. I don't know. But if it were up to me, I'd rather book Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew in a triple threat for the IC title. And again, I got Sheamus winning the IC title. Back for commercial break, we get footage from earlier today of Tegan Nox and Shayna Baszler getting pulled apart, and are informed that Ronda Rousey suffered an arm injury in the fracas. So there you go. We get Shayna Baszler versus Tegan Nox. Ask me if I care. I'm not even going to go over the matchup here. Shayna Baszler wins by submission with Ronda's cross arm bar. That's it. That's fucking it. Backstage, Imperium are interviewed. I love Imperium. I love Gunther. Gunther accuses Adam Pearce of poor management since he hasn't selected an opponent for him for WrestleMania, and his only concern is having a worthy opponent to do battle with at WrestleMania. Listen, Gunther's going to get his opponent at WrestleMania. And again, I think it's Sheamus, but some way, somehow, they could possibly add Drew to it. Or else we get Drew McIntyre versus LA Knight at WrestleMania. Unless if we don't get the triple threat, we get Sheamus and Gunther one more time for the IC title, and Drew ends up facing LA Knight at WrestleMania. I can see that being the case. I could. So back for commercial break, we get Bobby Lashley as he makes his entrance. He gets on the microphone. He says Bray Wyatt's been telling him to run, but he doesn't run from nobody. Well, from anybody. And now he's playing kid games like the Muscle Man dance, which he found comical, where he comes from. If you have a problem, you say it to somebody's face. So he has to come to SmackDown to talk top Bray face to face. So Lashley's calling out Bray. Uncle Howdy comes out, attacks Lashley from behind, but Bob cuts him off and chokeslams him. Bob lays in wait, but the lights go out. When they come back, Uncle Howdy's gone. We abruptly cut away with some Wyatt imagery. And the segment ends from there. You really want to see Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania? Again, it makes no sense. I said it on Raw last week, well, this past Monday, and I'm going to say it again on SmackDown on Friday tonight. Lashley and Bray Wyatt does not make any type of sense going into WrestleMania. Again, what's the story? What's the story? Just let me know. What's the fucking story between Bray Wyatt and Bobby Lashley? There is none. There's a spoiler for you folks. There is none. There's no story here. So why is this match happening at WrestleMania? What are they fighting over? That's what I want to know. Jimmy Uso returns to Roman Reigns and conveys a message from Jey Uso that he needs more time. This is when the part of SmackDown really got my attention. Reigns is skeptical and Jimmy clarifies, admitting Jey told him to leave him the hell alone. Roman doesn't understand how he could do this after everything is done for him. This didn't start happening until Sami Zayn came around, and maybe that's where the greed comes from. He's going to fix this Sami Zayn problem once and for all. He wants Jimmy out there with Solo tonight, and he wants them to get rid of Sami Zayn so Jey can come home. But here's the part that really got my attention. Get a load of this. Roman admits to Paul that if Jey doesn't show up on SmackDown next week, he's going to blame Jimmy. And from there we go to commercial break. Let me repeat that again. Roman admits to Paul that if Jey Uso does not show up on SmackDown next week, he's going to blame Jimmy. Does Jey Uso show up on SmackDown next week? I hope he does. Because by the time we get to SmackDown next week, it'll be 3 weeks to go to WrestleMania. I think Jey shows up next week. I honestly thought, watching the main event tonight, I thought that Jey was going to show up tonight and fuck up Sami. Tonight, that wasn't the case. Could we get that next week? Possibly. Matter of fact, I'm going to make a prediction right now. I think we get that next week. Jey shows up next week. He fucks up Sami. The matchup between Jimmy and Jey versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will be confirmed for WrestleMania next Friday on SmackDown. Wherever the hell they're at next week. I think so. I think we get that next week. But then, here's another thing that I don't think anybody in the community is even thinking about. There's tension now between Roman, Jimmy, and Jey. Especially after what happened at this segment. When Roman telling Paul Heyman that if Jey doesn't show up on SmackDown next week, he's blaming Jimmy. What if? Now, this might be the biggest out of nowhere, coming from left field situation. What if the Usos cost Reigns the Undisputed Championship at WrestleMania? right when Reigns is about to win the match against Cody at WrestleMania, and the Usos come out of nowhere and quote-unquote help Reigns. What if they don't help Reigns? And that's what helps Cody beats Roman at WrestleMania. I think it's a possibility. Could it happen? Maybe. Maybe. Sure. Just think about that for a second. Is it possible? Yeah, sure. At this point, anything's possible at this point. Anything's possible. Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comment section. Back from commercial break, commentary hypes up next week's show, including a 5-way Intercontinental Championship #1 contenders match. So we're getting Drew, Sheamus, LA Knight, Karrion Kross, and I'm guessing Kofi Kingston. Wasn't there supposed to be a battle royal at the MSG show to determine who faces Gunther for the IC title? So now I'm assuming that's not for Gunther at WrestleMania, with that 20-man battle royal at the freaking MSG house show in a couple days. Either that happens, or they completely pulled that off the card of that show, and they put on SmackDown instead. I think Sheamus wins next week, and we get Sheamus and Gunther at WrestleMania for the IC title. Main event time. Sami Zayn versus Sikoa in the main event of Friday Night SmackDown. So coming out commercial break, Sikoa's in control. Zayn with a springboard, up and over with a lariat for separation. Solo runs him over. OD to Rikishi connects, putting Sami up top. He fights back with boots and a tornado DDT, only a 1 count. Zayn staying on him, looking for the blue thunder bomb, but Solo counters with elbows. Sliced up the charge, the blue thunder bomb delivers so close, hanging weight. Uso with a cheap shot to Sami Zayn. Solo Sikoa wins by pinfall with the Samoa Spike to Sami Zayn. But was the damage done? Post-match. This is when it gets really interesting also here. Uso beats Sami down with mounted punches as Solo gets a chair, bringing it back inside. More punches, telling Zayn it's his fault for the choice he made and kicking his head in. Horse collaring Sami with the chair. Solo backs up, but Jimmy stops him, telling him he wants to get him. Uso keeps telling Sami that it's his fault, but Sami recovers just a little bit. Jimmy hesitated as Sami recovers and throws a chair at Solo. Sidestep the charge, and he takes out Jimmy out with the haluva kick. Zayn grabs a chair, but Solo recovers, and he has to throw the chair again to run away. Roman Reigns watches from his dressing room, disappointed, as Sami is in the stands celebrating the fact that he got away from the attack by the Bloodline as the show goes off the air. I said this literally a couple minutes ago. I think Jay shows up next week and he beats down Sami Zayn. Either Roman or Jimmy is going to come to Jay's senses. They're gonna make Jay realize, you know that you can't take down the Bloodline by yourself. You know you can. It's either you're with family or you're not. I honestly think Jay shows up next week on SmackDown and he beats up Sami Zayn for his brother, not for the Bloodline, for his brother. Now, this is going to be pretty interesting. Again, SmackDown's going to be interesting next week. I said this last week about tonight, and I'm saying this tonight about next week. SmackDown is going to be fucking interesting with this whole Roman Reigns Bloodline thing. And I'm going to sit here and guess, will Reigns be on SmackDown next week? I think he is. I think he is. Because he did say to Paul Heyman, if Jey Uso does not show up on SmackDown next week, he's going to blame Jimmy for what happened. I'm telling you. And then I asked this. What if the Usos cost Reigns the Undisputed Championship at WrestleMania? Again, is it a possibility? Yes. That's what makes Roman and Cody so unpredictable. And I fucking love it. And I said this. Unpredictability is good. Predictable is sometimes good, but not all the time. But not all the time. We don't know what Triple H is leaning towards. Is it going towards Cody or is he leaning towards Roman? We don't know. We have to wait till another 4 more weeks at WrestleMania. Then that question will be answered. But again, I'm right now 51-49 leaning towards Cody to beat Reigns at WrestleMania because of what happened at the end of the show tonight with the Bloodline. And again, this tension between Roman, Jimmy, and Jay. Solo will always be on Roman's side. I'm going to ask this now. Where does Solo ride in this? Does he go with his brothers? Or does he go with Roman? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. That's it, guys, for SmackDown Review tonight. I mean, like I said, outside of the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns segment and the last 20 minutes of the show tonight was really, really good. Nothing in the middle happened. SmackDown tonight was like a sandwich. You got the bread here in the beginning, the bread here in the end. Just the middle was fucked up. The middle was completely fucked up tonight. But that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you guys did, leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below your thoughts of the show tonight. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. Turn that bell, guys, for all notifications. Raw Review is live on the channel right now, as well as SmackDown Review from this past Friday. Link to both of these videos will be in the annotation that you see on the upper right-hand corner of your screen and also down below in the description. Make sure you guys are following me on social media. Twitter and TikTok at @TheRealChris, 2 E's and 2 S's. My Twitter and my TikTok will be down below in the description, guys. I will see you guys on Monday for Raw, brand new week of content, as Revolution is on Sunday night. Let me know down below in the comment section if you guys want me to review Revolution on Sunday night. So then, guys, I'm Chris. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, share the video all over social media. I'll see you guys maybe on Sunday for Revolution. If not, on Monday on Raw Review right here on the channel. So then, guys, I'm Chris. Have a good night. See you guys on Monday.